Hello everyone, my name is Isse Waddey, also known as Isse Waddey to many of you. So today I am honored to be here today to talk to all of you about our stewardship campaign, Living Generously, Changing Lives. I was asked to speak about stewardship from children and ministry perspective. And as I reflected on what to say today, I would like to share with you a story about how Alex and I came to Woodmont Christian. I'll first say that Alex and I always used to sit in the back of the church when we first started because we could guarantee that we could sit kind of anywhere. But now as the church has grown quite a bit, we are always guaranteed the front row. So Alex, my husband, sitting right here, we typically sit in the front row and you see us a lot in the front. But as we came to the church, Alex and I, right after we got married, we knew it was really important for us to find a church home where we could raise a family. So we visited churches all over Nashville. And when we came to Woodmont Christian, we came to the 8:30 service. Yes, Woodmont Christian did have an 8:30 service at the time. And when we walked in, there were about 10 people, including Alex and I, at that service. And so I remember that so vividly. I remember seeing the farmers there. Yes, you guys love the 8:30 service as well. And I remember seeing Pat and Dave Malone. And that memory is so vivid to us because that day we found our church home. We knew when we came into this sanctuary that it just felt right. That at that time the church was in transition of ministers, and it still was a place that felt right to us. And we are excited to still be here. And that was in 2007, so we've been a member of the church for that long. And so we know Woodmont Christian is a place that values families, our own faiths, in such a profound way. And we feel, as I'm sure all of you do, that the greatest gift we can give ourselves and our children is a church home that we love, support, share a place, and a place that we can also have fun. So I want to talk about fun for a minute. My children love coming to church every Sunday morning. They talk about it all the time. All of their friends are here, and they enjoy learning about many different things. They participate in, from coming up here for the children's moment with Mr. Justin and Mr. Trey and others, to hanging of the greens, and they get to sing and they get to hang and decorate the church. That's so fun for them. And walk through Bethlehem. That's all I have to say. That moment, that time is so breathtaking for our family, but the fact that my children get to volunteer and dress up and participate, there's so many lessons being learned in that. And then we have the Easter egg hunts and the 5-star dinners and the moms groups. And, Clay talked a lot this morning about the small groups. Alex and I found some of our very, very, very best friends in our small groups, and we are so thankful. So if you're not involved, I do encourage you to get involved. So we have all these great programs, but are our children really learning? Are they really understanding who God is about the Bible? Are they understanding the life lessons and growing in their faith? Well, I'll say yes, they are. And I'm going to tell you guys a quick story that is still so moving to me. I had a young little puppy. Her name was Massey, and she was a white 8-pound Maltese. And she was just my life, and she was with us for 13 years. So as I started having children, Massey typically, as you would know, had a difficult time, just like any family member or dog or pet that you have. And so Massey passed away in 2012. And it was Easter week that Massey passed away, and Alex was out of town. And I wanted to wait for Alex to get home before I told the children that Massey had passed away. Hudson was about 3.5 years old at the time. And I couldn't wait for Alex to get home. They were asking, where's Massey, where's Massey? So I talked to many of the ministers at the church and many people and read books. How do you tell a child that their dog passed away? And Hudson was very aware of this. So I sat down on that Thursday evening and I said, Hudson, Massey passed away. And I just started crying. And she looked at me and she said, Mom, that means Massey's in heaven with Jesus. And I just was like, wow. And we started to celebrate. I mean, my 3.5-year-old daughter taught me a lesson. And that was pretty amazing. I immediately called Clay and Trey and Justin and everybody and said, look at what you are teaching my children. And so I would say it takes all of us. It takes a village to raise a family. And I am so glad that I'm with all of you helping me raise my children, because I can't do it myself. So Alex and I we feel so blessed to be part of Woodmont Christian and believe that it is the core and the foundation of our marriage and our family. Our stewardship campaign is about living generously and changing lives. And I just shared with you this morning a story or two about how this church has changed our lives. So I encourage each of you to think about your own stories and how the church has changed your life as you consider making your pledge during this year's stewardship campaign. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mark Clymer, sometimes occasionally mistaken for Isse Waddey. My wife is Casey back there in the back. I was asked to speak to you a little bit about what a relatively new member of this church has experienced here. I've been a member for about 4 or 5 years, and I was both honored and humbled to be asked to be part of the stewardship committee. When I began, I used to think about stewardship as sort of this few-week commitment where you committed financially to supporting the church. And through this process, I've really changed my understanding of stewardship. And now I view it more as a year-long commitment that is renewed each year, both with our financial support, but also with our time, talents, and our efforts and our involvement here at Woodmont. This church has enabled me and allowed me to be involved in a number of things, a few of which are a trip to Guatemala, where I was able to impact and change children's lives and their families' lives. I've also had the opportunity to make incredible friendships through the small group programs that we have here at church, and those friendships have both buoyed me in times of need and also strengthened my faith. And also I've had the opportunity to be involved in Room at the Inn, which is, as you know, serving Nashville's homeless. So as we progress through this stewardship campaign, let's keep in mind all the opportunities we have here at Woodmont to both support financially, but also support our endeavors with our time and our involvement. And I'll leave you just with a little story as well. In one of my sessions where we were doing Room in the Inn, as many of you know, we have a clothing closet there, and I was manning the clothing closet that night. And for our guests who may need a new sweater or a clean pair of socks, they can come up and get a couple of items. And a man came up, and I introduced myself, and I shook his hand, and he just beamed, he lit up, and he said, "Man, I want to thank you for that." And I thought he was referring to the church's support, the warm meal, the bed that he could sleep in that night. And I said, "Well, you're very welcome." And as we shook hands, he said, "You know, most people won't shake my hand. A lot of people don't want to touch people that are in my sort of situation." And that handshake meant more to him than anything that he could think of that evening. So let's go out and touch people